This is a reading of Project 2025. This is a mandate for leadership from the Conservative Promise, and I'll go over who some of the players are. And this is going to be done in sections because it is very long. So this is the very beginning of it, forward by Kevin D. Roberts, PhD, edited by Paul Dance and Stephen Groves. Kevin D. Roberts also did the forward. I believe it was him that also did the forward on J.D. Vance's book. So these guys are very intertwined with the conservative GOP. So here's all of the table of contents, and we will just get started right away with the acknowledgments. Oh, and first we're going to go through, yep. So this work, this is the acknowledgments. This work, Mandate for Leadership 2025, the Conservative Promise, is a collective effort of hundreds of volunteers who have banded together in the spirit of advancing positive change for America. Our work is by no means the comprehensive compendium of conservative policies, nor is our group the exclusive cadre of conservative thinkers. The ideas expressed in this volume are not necessarily shared by all. What unites us is the drive to make our country better. First and foremost, we thank the chapter authors and contributors who gave so freely of their time in service of their country. We were particularly grateful to have the help of dedicated members of the Heritage Foundation's management and policy teams. Executive Vice President Derek Morgan, Chief of Staff Wesley Coopersmith, Associate Director of Project 2025 Spencer I'm going to mess up that name. Shrishian, I don't know how to say that, and Thomas A. Rowe Institute for Economic Policy Studies Director Paul Ray devoted a significant amount of their valuable time to reviewing and editing the lengthy manuscript and provided expert advice and insights. The job of transforming the work of dozens of authors and hundreds of contributors into a cohesive manuscript fell upon Heritage's formidable team of editors led by Director of Research Editors Therese Penfather, Senior Editor William T. Poole, Marla Hess, Jessica Lowther, Karina Rollins, and Kathleen Scaturo. Without those tireless efforts, you would not be reading these words. The talented work of Data Graphics Services managers John Fleming, manager of web development and print projects Jay Simon, Director of Marketing, Elizabeth Fender, Senior Graphic Design, Grace DeSandro, and Senior Designer, Melissa Bluey, came together to bring the volume to life. We also thank the dedicated junior staff who provided immeasurable assistance, especially Jordan Embray, Sarah Calvis, and Jonathan Moy. Most important, we're grateful to the leadership, supporters, and donors of each of the Project 2025 Advisory Board members, organizations, and those of the Heritage Foundation, without whom Project 2025 would not be possible. Thank you, Paul Dance and Stephen Groves. And then I think it goes through a list of, this is the advisory board. And there's just a lot of names here. Alabama Policy Institute, Alliance Defending Freedom, American Compass, the American Conservative, American First Legal Foundation, American Accountability Foundation, American Center for Law and Justice, American Cornerstone Institute, American Council of Trustees and Alumni, American Legislative Exchange Council, the American Main Street Initiative, American Moment, American Principles Project, Center for Equal Opportunity, Center for Family and Human Rights, Center for Immigration Studies, Center for Renewing America, Claremont Institute, Coalition for a Prosperous America, Competitive Enterprise Institute, Conservative Partnership Institute, Concerned Women for America, Defense of Freedom Institute, Ethics and Public Policy Center, Family Policy Alliance, Family Research Council, First Liberty Institute, Forge Leadership Network, Foundation for Defense of Democracies, Foundation for Government Accountability, Freedom Works, the Heritage Foundation, Hillsdale College, Honest Elections Project, Independent Women's Forum, Institute for the American Worker, Institute for Energy Research, Institute for Women's Health, Intercollegiate Studies Institute, James Madison Institute, Keystone Policy, the Leadership Institute, Liberty University, National Association of Scholars, National Centers for Public Policy Research, Pacific Research Institute, Patrick Henry College, Personal Policy Operations, Recovery for America Now Foundation, 1792 Exchange, Susan B. Anthony, Pro-Life America, Texas Public Policy Foundation, Teneo Network, and Young America's Foundation. So this is the 2025 transition project. A note on Project 2025. We want you. The 2025 Presidential Transition Project is the conservative movement unified effort to be ready for the next conservative administration to govern at noon, 12 noon, January 20th, 2025. Welcome to the mission. By opening this book, you are now a part of it. Indeed, one set of eyes reading these passages will be those of the 47th President of the United States, and we hope every other reader will join in making the incoming administration a success. History teaches that a president's power to implement an agenda is at its apex during the administration's opening days. To execute requires a well conceived, coordinated, unified plan and a trained and committed cadre of personnel to implement it. In recent election cycles, presidential candidates normally began transition planning in the late spring of election year or even after the party's nomination was secured. That is too late. The federal government's complexity and growth advance at a seemingly logarithmic rate every 4 years. For conservatives to have a fighting chance to take on the administrative state and reform our federal government, that must start now. The entirety of this effort is to support the next conservative president, whoever he or she may be. In the winter of 1980, the fledgling Heritage Foundation handed to President elect Ronald Reagan the inaugural mandate for leadership. This collective work by conservative thought leaders and former government hands, most of whom were not part of the heritage, set out policy prescriptions agency by agency for the incoming president. The book literally put the conservative movement and Reagan on the same page, and the revolution that followed might never have been, save for this band of committed and volunteer activists. With this volume, we've gone back to the future and then some.